They call it the tribal Prussia of South Africa. The legendary Zulu exists as a playable nation in EU4, but normally you would have to wait until Tech 15 to play them. That's why in this video I'll show you how to easily play as Zulu only 7 years into the game. That will not only bring you insane gold income, totally broken tribal reforms, and truly one of the best national idea set in the entire game, but also a unique government type that allows the same overpowered militarization that otherwise only Prussia can get. Explore one of the most unique nations in the game and play as the legendary Zulu in 1451. So obviously, Zulu is not a starting nation in 1444, right? That's why you have to do the trick that I'm going to show you right now. And that's why you have to think about the starting nation. And there are actually probably 3 different options, which are obviously Kilwa, Mutapa, or Sofala. And the reason why I will choose Sofala is actually mainly because they are a tribe and they are Tech 3, okay? So you can see Mutapa is also a tribe, right? Tribal kingdom, but and they are of course independent, right? But they are on Tech 2 in every category, which is of course a huge debuff if you overtake that technology as Zulu later. Now, of course, Kilwa is the strongest one of these 3 nations, but the problem is they are actually a monarchy that you can see Eastern plutocracy over there, which means that Zulu would become a monarchy as well, which we don't want because they have the tribal Zulu Federation reform that gives them militarization, right? And that's why Sofala is the perfect nation to start as, because they are a tribal monarchy and they are on Tech 3 in every category. So now that we are in as Sofala, actually one thing to keep in mind, we don't have feudalism embraced, which means that, it grows like slowly, right? So I will get it eventually, but not until I play Zulu. And therefore, I really don't care about technologies. The only thing that I care about is actually admin points. So that's why you should focus on admin and get an admin advisor, only an admin advisor, to save money on the other two mana points basically. But of course you can give all the mana privileges, because that will of course help you develop the province that you want to give Zulu later. Okay, a state setup done. Actually give out whatever you can, because you won't be playing as this nation for long, obviously, right? So very important is actually the 5% loans, as well as the control over monetary policy and the promote merchant bookkeeping, because that both decreases the interest that you pay, and that means that you have enough money to fight your overlord actually 2 times. Now, the 11th of December, you want to immediately declare on Kilwa with the independence casus belli. That's, by the way, also one of the reasons why I focused on admin, for increasing the stability and later also decreasing the inflation, because both will be overtaken by Zulu otherwise. So I'm just going to declare war on Kilwa, and you can already see that, I'm recruiting another mercenary company here. So I will have around 12k troops, and that will be enough to actually beat a Kilwa, especially if you have like a morale advice or something that you can use for that as well. You can, of course, try to fight some battles, especially in the early start. They will, start to recruit some units until the 4th summit, so maybe you catch them with a few less troops than you have. But keep in mind that you would need a pretty good general, as for example the Madagascar company has in my case. Otherwise, if you're not sure to beat them, just stay on that province and wait, because you of course have the ticking war score, and you won't need that much war score for the peace deal that you need in this first war. Okay, so as soon as you have, around 27 or something war score and they have medium war enthusiasm, right? Then you should check the peace deal if it's already possible what you want to do, because what you want to do is to go offer a tribute and to offer to lose Sofala. They will not take that if they are on high, so you have to wait or stand on their capital or something. And then, of course, before you do that, you can spend all of the points. I've already spent a few points on developing it. You want to spend all of your points on Diplo and Mill to develop your province of Sofala, because that will be the province that Zulu will be released in later. And of course you want to get to -2 stability so that you can declare another war again, right? But you don't want to spend any more because you need that for later stability. So that's now the situation. I have no more points to spend, so I can lose this province now, and I want to lose that province now. You can see 15% war score, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. There we go, Sofalan War for Independence. Of course, now I'm still a vassal, right? And I've lost that province. Now what I want to do as well is I want to get rid of that core. Okay, there we go. And now that means that there is separatism in this province, and it is a culture that no one else of that culture group has a core on, right? So it will trigger the generic rebels, culture rebels of this culture that I won't try to pronounce, and that is Zulu separatists. And now, of course, you want to get your troops back because you want to declare immediately as soon as possible again. And you have to have a look on your loan size, actually, because now it gets kind of expensive to maintain your army. Of course, your force limit dropped again because you're a subject nation, so it won't be that bad, but you will lose a lot of money and you will have to reduce a lot of inflation. So now as soon as you are back in your home province, you want to declare a independence war immediately again. Now sadly, they've got another trade league over here with some more nations, which could kind of be dramatic if that happens. So maybe you want to declare war otherwise before, but I'm going to try to win that anyways. So I'm just going to break the truce and declare independence war again. So there goes Kilva, no save scumming needed. They actually tried to, reoccupy these provinces down there. But that should be enough. And now what you want to do is, of course, get your diplomats back, right? But then after that, you can peace Kilva out for independence, of course. That's very important. And the province of Sofala to get it back, basically. And then what you want to do is probably get a lot of money. In this case, I want to peace out as soon as possible, so I can't get that much, but you probably be able to get a little bit more than that. And then just peace them out for that. And, all you need to do right now is simply to actually delete the very expensive company over here, to not go bankrupt, of course. But I just have to re-roll some loans, because now I have the gold mine back, a little bit more development and so on. So I think that should be possible. And now all I want to do is simply reduce autonomy in that province and wait until these Zulu separatists reach 50%. But of course, in the meantime, you can still develop your capital, your new capital, with Diplo and mill points and reduce the inflation with your admin points. And of course, you can, delete your other advisors because that costs you a lot of money, and that way you can see I won't even go bankrupt right now. Mutapa actually flipped hostile, so I need an alliance, but yeah, you can see I can easily get that with Ajuran over here. And it's really only for the matter of, Makua and Mutapa not attacking me right now until the rabbits spawn. And there we go. There is the 50% Zulu separatists. Now you want to actually get your army back, probably also recruit a few more units, maybe even cavalry over there. Of course, right now the unrest over here is very high, so I'm just going to accept the demands over here. It doesn't really matter. And now I'm just going to, recruit a few more units and just to beat the rebels up later. And I'm of course going to provoke that revolt and have Zulu separatists rise up in the Sofala province. Okay, so there we go. There is Zulu basically. And the reason for that is that once they occupy that, I'm just going to wait for that to happen. You can see that now Zulu has actually a core on that province, which, by the way, I devved up, right? It's a really nice province also. And that means that all I have to do right now is to fight the rebels and get rid of them for a second, so that you can reoccupy that province. And now that I've reoccupied the province, I can of course release and play as Zulu, but before I do that, I of course want to get as much as possible out of this nation, which is first of all reduce the inflation to the minimum, as well as already developing this province over here as much as I can, or boost the stability as much as I can, or reduce the war exhaustion as much as I can, because that is overtaken as well. So I'm just going to spend my Diplo points on that. And then the rest of the points I'm going to use to develop my capital over here, because, I can just take that as Zulu later. So it will be kind of helpful to have that devved up a little. And of course, I'm going to delete all of my units. And I'm going to probably abandon the alliance with Ajuran, except if I'm afraid of Mutapa, for example, attacking me, which I am afraid of that happening, and that's why I'm just going to keep the alliance with Ajuran. Actually, it doesn't really matter, I can just beat them later as Zulu. So I'm just going to do that, delete the ships as well, make it as easy as possible later, basically. And yeah, that's it. So you can see 10th of September 1451, and I can now go and release and play as Zulu. That will be Sunni and this culture that I won't pronounce, as well as they will own the gold province of Sofala. And now the interesting part comes in. They are a tribal nation and they can select the Zulu tribe, which enables militarization mechanic, as well as, gives you a lot of really nice bonuses, as well as the typical minus 50% gov cap that Prussia has as well, right? So I'm just going to take that, there we go. And now I'm playing as Zulu in 1451, and now I have the militarization of a country that you see right now gives me at the maximum 20% manpower recovery speed, 20% reduced land maintenance, and of course plus 10% discipline. And even with the negative modifier of being, at losing basically militarization, right? War exhaustion will of course go down, so that won't be a problem for long. But you can keep that at 100 with just spending a little more than 2 military points per month. And keep in mind that this reform lets your ruler have plus 2 military skill, which means that typically military points shouldn't be a problem for you, and you can literally keep that militarization at 100 for the entire time by clicking this button, every 5 or 10 years. And now all I have to do is do my estate setup, which, by the way, I have 100% crowned. Of course, I'm going to lose like 30 or 20% of that once I enforce, but I have very high crowned, therefore very high reform progress growth, and I can do whatever I want. All the mana privileges, of course, you know, just for the extra mana points, and I'm still at, after I unpaused, over 60% crown land. So that's very nice, and I will gain an insane amount of money from gold. You're going to see that probably after the month tick it will be even higher than that. Let me just see. There goes the month tick. Now you can see I'm actually making 5.2 ducats per month. So I can hire literally all 3 advisors and have an army that can beat Sofala once the truce is up. And I can actually declare an independence war on them. And from there on, go as Zulu, the tribal version of Prussia in southeastern Africa. And I think that will be a very interesting game to play from here on. I just wanted to show you how to get to that point, because from now on you can of course conquer all of Africa, you can colonize South Africa, you can of course colonize India, and you know, whatever you want to colonize in the east. So, and all of that with an insane government ability, as well as insane national ideas. You can see you start up with 25% increased land force limit and more army tradition from battles, as well as you finish with 5% discipline, and you even have 15% morale over here, 10% core creation cost over here, infantry combat ability and shock damage over here, as well as another manpower recovery speed combined with that from your government ability. That will be no manpower problems whatsoever, as well as even reform progress and governing capacity modifier, a very rare modifier in national ideas. Even vassalization acceptance, also a super rare modifier. So I would probably say that these ideas are actually matching the Prussian ideas for military-wise, and they have also on top of that the additional modifiers for, as I said, governing capacity, reform progress growth, vassalization, and so on, right? So I think this is actually one of the best military idea groups in the entire game. And that in combination with the militarization and the tribal reforms that of course give you another manpower here, land maintenance here, as well as even governing capacity or core creation costs over here, that is totally broken in my opinion, and it would be a very fun game to continue that. Maybe I will. We're going to see if that actually happens, because I have some idea to do that. I hope you enjoyed the video for today, and we are going to see, as always, on another Monday.